Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara, or Lara Likes Mascara. Welcome back to yet another Project Pan update, and the final Project Pan update for the year. Yes, you heard that right. It is approaching the end of 2024, and so today is my finale of my entire Project Pan. Not to fear, right off the bat, I will let you know that I am continuing this Project Pan in 2025, but I will be starting fresh. So there will be a couple of items that are sort of brought over from the 2024 Project Pan, but for the most part, these will all be fresh new products, and I'm really excited about them. I think I've mentioned in a couple videos that I had started planning which products will be my 2025 Project Pan months and months ago. Like, I knew there's been some products that I wanted to start working on or reaching for, but I was like, you know what, it'll be so much more satisfying if we save this for a 2025 focus. And so I reached for other things, but you will see that in 2025. Today's video is just going to be talking about my 2024 Project Pan. Of course, I'm going to be doing a final update on all the products from the past month and a half-ish, if I have any new empties, and the progress I've made on these. And I actually counted up all of the products that I finished through this Project Pan, and I counted up all the products that I finished in my entire makeup collection in 2024, and so I'm going to be able to share with you how many of the products that I panned in 2024 was through my Project Pan. I also counted up the products that I decluttered through this Project Pan because I think that also counts for something. It's not quite as impressive, but I still acknowledge that I wouldn't have decluttered those products if I hadn't focused on them through the Project Pan. So I will share all of those numbers at the end of the video. This is the kind of thing that I've wanted to do every year. It's just like kind of a hassle. So it took some time, but I feel like it is well worth it. But let's get into the video and let's talk about the products that I made progress on over the last month. So let's go in the same order as I have for the past couple of updates. We are going to start with this MAC highlight. This is actually something that is not currently in my makeup bag. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was while I was filming my inventory, I will link that here, I decided to focus on a different highlight for the month of December because I have focused on this for the entire year. I'm not joking. Like, this was pretty much the only powder highlight that I used in 2024. And so I wanted to give myself a little bit of a break and use another powder highlight. But up until a couple weeks ago, I was still focusing on this. And I have since reached for it a few times because it's just got so much bling. And so when I really want my highlight to pop, I will either use this or I will use it in tandem with my other powder highlight, which is the Becca, not Champagne Pop. I can't remember the name for it, but if anything, I have liked this product better over the past year, which is a little bit surprising because, like, I've been using this and only this, so you would think I would be bored, but no, I still really love it. As you can tell, it's been depotted into this container. Maybe 2025 is the year I finish it. I don't know. I really do feel like you can see progress this update. Like, the little, the little bulbs used to cover the entire bottom. They don't anymore, so I have used it quite a bit, but highlight just takes forever to finish. I can't even remember if this is one of the products that I said was going to be in my Project Pan in 2025. Probably, because I know I'm going to be working on it, but I shouldn't be giving spoilers like that anyways, so I will try to zip it with which of these you will see featured again in early 2025. Once again, this one is not finished, but that is absolutely no surprise. The next one is this brown liner, and I really feel like every time I can see the visual progress. Like, it just looks so tiny, But let's actually measure it and see if I have made any progress on it recently. I feel like I've been doing more brown liner on, like, my bottom line. That's the main way that I've been using this. And so I think there should probably be some progress. if we can find where I actually started tracking it. Yes, there it is. You know what I realized? That I've got these tracking pages in this notebook, and this page, virtually the entire page is full of products that I have now finished. We've got the NARS Rakujian Lippy, NARS Cruella, Urban Decay eyeliner, a Bite lipstick, a Revlon lipstick, Revlon lip butter, baby lips, wow, throwback, Estee Lauder lip liner, Kika red lippy. Oh, I haven't finished that Annabelle one. So the Annabelle one and the NYX cream blush I haven't finished, but everything else on here. Love to see that. Love it. Okay, so let's do a little measurement. Wow, that's actually really impressive. That's better than I expected. I have used this more in the past 6 weeks than I have in a long time. There were a couple days where I used this instead of a black liner. Like I could have gone either way, but I don't know. I just kind of felt like using brown. So that's probably what it is, because when I'm doing my bottom line, I'm not doing like a fully straight line. You know, I'm just sort of like smudging a bit. I might use my finger or a brush. I just want a little bit of an enhanced bottom lash line. But if I'm using this on the top, I'm not just doing a little bit, like I'm doing a full winged liner. I'm wearing a black today, but like this is what I would want my brown liner to look like as well. So I guess I use up quite a bit more when I'm doing the top than when I'm doing the bottom. How many more times will you see this on my channel? Probably a lot. Like this is probably still going to take a long time to finish, but it's going to be so rewarding when I actually do finish it. So I'm really happy with the progress I've made on this. I will include pictures here to show not just how much progress I've made since I started panning this, however long ago that was, but also how much progress I've made specifically since the beginning of 2024, because I feel like that is more impressive. Yay! Okay, number 3 of my products to talk about today is this Dior Air Flash Foundation. You know the drill. I am going to measure this in a different way. I am measuring the weight of the product. So let me go grab my scale. I am wearing pajama pants. Please forgive me. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, so I should say that my last update was at, I think 54, 53 or 54. Before that I was at 56, 62, 68. So I'm expecting today to be like 51, maybe? Okay, 52. Oh, it's going up and down between 52 and 53. Let's call it 52. That's not unexpected, because some months I have a lot of things going on, but they're not things that I like care about that much, if you know what I mean. This month I have a lot of stuff going on, so you would think that I get a lot of use out of this, but when it's like nicer events, I really want to wear my favorite makeup, you know? Like I want to wear my favorite base, so I'm going to be reaching for my Fenty foundation. That's my favorite. I'm not going to be reaching for this. And so right now, when there's all these like holiday parties and social events going on, I want to do my favorite makeup looks. So this is not getting very much love. If I just have like a, you know, random evening thing, I'm like hanging out with a friend or whatever, this is what I'll use. But it's been a little bit nicer events. But the last time I used this, it was just a couple days ago. I actually used it kind of as more of like a concealer foundation. Like I didn't do it over my whole face. I just did it in like under the eyes, and like I have some redness here. So I used some here, a little bit around the nose and the forehead, and actually looks really good. So I kind of get whiplash with this product, because the occasional time I'll put it on, I'll be like, oh wow, I like really did a good job putting this on today. And then other times I'll be like, well, you know, I knew I disliked this product. So it's very confusing. You'd think after all this time of trying to use it up, I would know how to make it look good, but I still don't. Maybe it depends on what kind of day my skin is having or what products I use in combination with. You know, these things are always tricky to predict. Even like today, I'm using my favorite, my Fenty foundation, and I don't think it looks great. Like it's really dry around the nose, and I don't feel like I have enough coverage on my cheeks. I don't think you're going to be able to tell at all, but the nose is looking really dry, and then my cheek, yeah, you can kind of see. It's not like acne, it's just marks. That's just like my skin, and I don't feel like there's enough coverage there. So I do have a holiday party tonight, and I don't know if I'm gonna go in with another layer of foundation or concealer or whatever, but you know, every Every product has its good and bad days, but this one really takes that to the extreme. Okay, and then we have a good update. This is the Merit Brow Gel. I already feel like I shared that I finished this in a previous Project Pan update, but that must just be because I showed it in, I don't know, a TikTok or something. But I finally finished this Merit Brow Gel. I really liked it. I mean, not so much the formula, but the packaging. Ugh, I'm a sucker for some good gold packaging. It's just so pretty. But I was trying to get all of my Merit products out in 2024 because I've had them for sort of the maximum amount of time that you should have Merit products. So I was just trying to use this up. I liked it, but I want to say not the best brow gel I've ever used, but I don't feel like I have a brow gel that's the best brow gel I've ever used. Like, I've never found one that is excellent. So maybe one day, but not today, not this one. The next one is the other Merit product that I have been working on. This is the cream highlight, and you can see, I don't want to say I've used it up, but let me show you the product just so you know. It just blends in so beautifully into the skin. It's so seamless. It looks good by itself on the skin. It looks good on the skin on top of foundation under blush. You can even put it on over blush if you're careful and if it's a cream blush. It's just a beautiful product, and I have pretty much used it up. You see this line here is like the plastic. And so when I go like this, I feel the edges of it. So probably this week, I'm going to have to go in there and scoop it out. I haven't wanted to call this an empty just because I know that there's more product in here. But this is virtually an empty. Like, I think a lot of people, if they reach this point, they would call it an empty. I, as you know, am a little more particular, but I am really happy that this is virtually finished because along with this one and the foundation for Merit that I finished earlier this year, that means I achieved my goal of finishing all the Merit products in my collection by the end of 24. And I made quite a bit of progress on this year. I think you'll be able to tell by the pictures. Loved it, but it's very expensive, so probably won't be repurchasing it. The next one is also a very happy situation. This is the Clinique Brow Gel, and this is also finished. This was kind of a subjective thing. I just decided that it was too dry, it wasn't dispensing any product, and so it was time to say goodbye to it. I never really loved it. This actually, surprisingly, was really good as a mascara. It really, really lengthened. I don't like the brush at all. I didn't really like the formula. And with this kind of brush, you would think that it wouldn't be good at lengthening. Usually the good lengthening ones are like the ones that have very specific bristles, like plastic bristles, you know what I mean? Like, this just doesn't have those separators to really comb through the lashes, but somehow I remember this looking great on the lashes. But it's not waterproof, so I didn't love it as a mascara. I didn't love it as a brow gel. I just wanted to get this out. I think I transitioned this from a mascara to a brow gel about halfway through the year, and I'm glad that I can finally say goodbye because this is just a mini. It's just a mini, and yet it somehow took so freaking long. So can I say that I had 3 empties this update? I did revive both of these quite a few times, but eventually you just get to the point where you're like, that's enough. Speaking of that's enough, this is the Maybelline Rocket Volume Express Mascara. This I switched over to a brow gel within the past month, which is kind of a wild thing to do because there is still so much product left. Like, I've definitely never made that switch while a mascara was so wet. You can't really tell, but when I put it in and then like scrape it around, there's so much product still in there that you see that black clump there? That comes out on the brush. That shows you how much product there is in there. So it really was quite premature to switch this to a brow gel, but I just didn't want to use it as a mascara anymore. I just, like, with my non-waterproof mascaras, I just don't reach for them. Particularly, you know, this month I have so many events going on. I don't want to be using a subpar mascara. And so even though it wasn't really time to switch this over to a brow gel, it was time for me. So it's actually been fine. I do have to be quite careful about how much product I'm using, but it's still working. Like, I put this in my brows today. You know, it's fine. it's doing its job. It's not my favorite, and this will probably take a very long time to use up as a brow gel because there is so much product left compared to this. When I switched it over, there wasn't that much product left, but at least I will be getting use out of it, which was something that I really struggled with when it was categorized as a mascara. Okay, time to talk about a bronzer. You have seen quite a few bronzers come in and out of this project this past year, and I think we're on the third or fourth one. This is the Kevyn Aucoin bronzer, and this has been in my collection for quite a few years now, but it's only in 2024 that I really started getting use out of this bronzer, getting to know it better. I don't think you can see the dip very well on camera. And so in 2025, that is something that I will definitely be working on to try to improve because it's visible to the eyes, and the fact that I have made progress on this despite not focusing on it that much. I mean, it's been in my project pan since the November update, but other than that, it was only organic use. I don't think this had ever been in any kind of project before that. So I really do like it. I'm not sure if I like that the size of the pans is so small. Like, here's a brush that I might use for a bronzer. You can see it's like, this is just too big. So I do have a different brush that I use for this bronzer, but even that brush, which is maybe 2/3 of this size, maybe half, is still a bit too big for this. That being said, I really do like this bronzer. I need to get better about using that highlight because you can tell that there is no dip in the highlight. I use a little bit of it today on the brow bone because I felt like I went a bit too high with the brown in my crease, and that worked really well. I definitely like this, a very good quality, and because it is so small, I feel like it's possible to hit pan at some point in 2025. So there we go. Spoiler, this is something that I will be working on in 2025. I don't know if I can see visual progress since the November update, but in any case, I'm glad that I've had it in my makeup bag for the past month because it's just something that I have neglected for some reason. I think I'm now at the point where I do wear bronzer whenever I'm doing like a little bit more of a makeup look, like not if I'm just doing a kind of like mascara and blush kind of day, but if I'm doing a face of makeup, I do always wear bronzer, but my go-to is a cream bronzer rather than a powder bronzer. And so this only gets used if I'm doing a 2 bronzer day, which today is. I'm not wearing it today, but like because I have a party tonight, I'll be refreshing my makeup in a couple of hours, and so I will be applying this. But yeah, I'm just, even though I'm using a lot more than I used to, I'm still not using it that much because it's not the number 1 bronzer I reach for. It's the number 2 bronzer I reach for. So we'll see if we can shift that a bit in 2025. I've got one non-makeup product in this project pan, so let's leave that to the end. Let's talk about the final makeup product, which is the Kiko Lippy. Now, this had quite a journey because it is one of those products that I depotted. Honestly, I feel like every single lip product for the most part I end up depotting just because there's so much product that is still remaining in the container. I love this as both a lip product and a blush. It was in I'll insert it here, but it was in kind of like a tube like this, and I found it easy to draw on the back of my hand and then from there pick up with a brush to use as blush, or because it was a pretty thin stick thing, I was able to draw directly on my lips, so I really enjoyed it. But as soon as I transferred it to a little pot, it just became a lot harder to use, and so I really struggled to reach for it, and as blush I virtually never used it. So I ended up finishing it off as a lip product, and I basically had to force myself to use it. Like I was just applying and reapplying at home. It's just harder when it's in a pot, you know, you can't apply it directly onto your lips or onto your face. So I really struggle with that. And that being said, am I going to stop depotting products? No, I still want to use up all of my products fully. You know, it's just like this. I'm still going to depot it, even though it will probably be a lot harder to use once it is depotted. But I just need to keep in mind that that depotted part, even though there's not that much product left, it's still going to be pretty slow progress unless I'm really pushing myself to use it. That being said, I did finish it. I'm very happy about that, and that freed up the container that I had depotted it into for another depotting. My MAC blush broke recently, and so I ended up depotting some of the product into this container as a loose blush, and I've actually been using it not as a blush, but as an under eye powder, and it's been working really well. People are all about, pink under eye powder this year, so I decided to give it a try because this is such a light shade, and it's been fun. That's not related, but I was waiting to use up this container. That was part of the motivation that got me to finish that product. So those are all the makeup products. The final product in my 2024 project pan is a skincare product. This is the Ordinary Multi-Peptide Eye Serum. It's kind of hard to tell how much product there is each time because of this label. I suppose I could have taken it off. But we are at about the last line of text down there. We're sort of midway through that. I'll see if a picture will be more helpful to visualize. There's not that much left. I could have waited to film this video for another week, or I could have even done the update in early January, but I just don't think that I'm going to be finished this within a week or two. I think it's going to take a bit longer, particularly once we get to the very, very bottom, and then it's harder to pick up with the squeezer droplet thingy. I'm gonna have to be pouring it out. Anyways, I'm just foreseeing this being a bit of a hassle to finish off. So this will be done relatively soon, but I'm not optimistic that it will be done within the next month. I'm glad that it was in the project pan because that got me to use it up. I don't really find this very effective. I haven't noticed any difference with my under eyes, to be honest, but I did want to use it up because I have it in my collection. Not finished, but we did have a number of empties this time. We had the Kiko Lippy, we had this brow gel, and maybe we can even count the Merit cream. So I'm pretty happy with this update. We've obviously got a few products that I can roll into my 2025 project pan, but on the whole, I think I did really well. And that is just backed up by the fact of how many products I ended up finishing through my project pan this year. So let's talk about those numbers. Okay, are you ready? So my panned makeup products exclusively through my project pan includes the Merit Brow Gel, Clinique Brow Gel, Kiko Lippy, Milk Blush. Some of these things going through them, I was like, oh yeah, forgot about that. Wow, yeah, that was this year. Sorry. The LYS Concealer, my Cream Illamasqua Bronzer, Irma Decay Eyeliner, Lip Sample from KVD, Sonia Kashuk Brow Duo, and my Kiko Lip Liner. Not the Kiko Red Lippy. It was like a mauve gray lip liner. That, I'm like, wow, I really forgot that. 10 products. I panned 10 products through this project pan, and I also decluttered one of my milk blushes, NYX Chubby Stick that was in milk. Do you remember that white one? And a ColourPop liquid lipstick. So I decluttered 4 products through this project pan, and I also hit pan on a bronzer. Do you remember that collection bronzer? It was in like a palette, and I was like, as soon as I hit pan on this, I'm decluttering it. So that I also count as an accomplishment through the project pan. So again, total 10 panned products, 4/5 decluttered products through this project pan. Now, in terms of all of my makeup empties in 2024, I'm going to, of course, do a video that is entirely about all of my makeup empties. I do that every year, and then after that point, I take all of my makeup empties to L'Occitane so that they can recycle them. So stay tuned for that video. But my total makeup empties for 2024, can you guess how many makeup products I panned in total in 2024? It's pretty impressive. No? 21. 21 makeup products I panned in 2024. So that means that the number that I panned through my project pan was about half of my total makeup empties. And my makeup declutters was 14. So in total, I got 35 makeup products out of my collection in 2024. That is super impressive. That is way more than I expected. And in fact, when I was setting my makeup goals for 2025, the numbers I set for myself were lower than that. So I want to declutter 15 makeup products and I want to pan 15 makeup products. I talked about some of those goals in my video about how to plan a 2025 makeup low buy, so I will link that here. But all this to say, I did even better this year than I thought I would, and a huge part of that, in fact, half of that, is directly down to project panning. So I just wanted to share those videos, for a comparison for myself for future and maybe for you. I found it really helpful. I wish I had done this in the past, just as I wish I had counted up my entire makeup inventory back in like 2019, 2020. I wish I had these comparison numbers from previous years to see how well I did this year. Did I pan more products than I did last year? Did I declutter more products this past year than in previous years? I don't know, but from now on, I will have this basis of comparison. So all this to say, project panning works. It really helps you curate down your collection, and hopefully next year I will be just as productive and I will be able to get out just as many products through my project pan, because this series is not going anywhere and you can expect a first update sometime in early January, probably in the first couple weeks of the year. But that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and let me very quickly talk about a book. I wasn't going to, but I really want to. The past month, I've actually read a ton of really good books, and it's kind of funny because a few months ago I was looking through my books read this year and I was like, I haven't really read any. I've read like one standout, that's it. But I've read 4 or 5 books in a row that are like 4.5 stars each, which is incredible. So anyways, this book was called I Who Have Never Known Men. Great title. Someone in my book club recommended it to me. I read it on audio. It was only like 6 hours, I want to say. And it sort of reminded me of the plot of The Maze Runner, if you have read that series or watched the movies. A young woman, I think she's like, sort of 13, 14 when we're first introduced to her. She lives in an underground bunker with 39 other women. There are 40 of them total. She, the main character, does not remember anything before her life there. So she's not sure if she was born there, but like all of her memories are in this underground bunker, whereas all of the other women are older and they do remember their lives before. They live normal lives like the rest of us, and they don't know how they ended up there. All they know is that they live the same days over and over. There are guards around them to make sure that they aren't trying to escape or aren't trying to kill themselves. They give them food, and that is everything they know. And that's basically it. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to give anything more away, but it is what happens to these women. And it was beautifully written. Like, I found it super contemplative. Usually in these sorts of stories where it's kind of dystopian and there's this other world and you're trying to figure out what's going on and how we got into these circumstances, you want to know the answers. You want to understand how things change from the present world to that world. But it didn't feel like that in this book. In I Who Have Never Known Men, I didn't want or need answers because you kind of feel like you know that they're arbitrary. The situation they're in itself, that's the metaphor. It's not about how we got into the situation. It's not about fascism or the leaders or dictators who changed the world in this way and entrapped these women. It's about that being like the situation they're in. That is the story, not how they got into that situation. I'm always looking for the answers, but for some reason in this book, I didn't feel like I needed the answers. This was a 4.5 stars. I was just blown away by it. I highly recommend it. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for future videos showing all of my makeup empties from 2024 and my future Project Pan videos. And I hope you're all having a lovely festive season and getting some time off. I will talk to you next week.